So we're here at Microsoft Build 2019 in Seattle. I'm Anisha Pindoria, Senior Program Manager in the Azure DevOps team. And on stage with me, I'm joined with Alex. Alex, you want to quickly introduce yourself and tell us what you work on?
Sure, it's great to be here. I'm a Senior Program Manager on the Azure Boards team.
Great.
And I'm really focused on helping make Azure Boards really well integrated with other tools.
Okay, fantastic. So there have been several announcements this week for Azure DevOps, one of which for Azure Boards has been the integration with GitHub and GitHub repos and Azure Boards. So can you tell me a little bit more about how that came about and how that really got started?
Right, yeah. Well, what we've seen is we really want to make this integration with GitHub really rich for Azure Boards. Back in December, we announced the new integration between the two services. Since then, we've grown and deepened some of our integration there, offered it on-prem, offered a few more features. And now we're really excited this week to have this announcement be in the marketplace.
Perfect, great. So what is the DevOps problem that we're really trying to solve here?
Yeah, well, again, what we found is if you're in GitHub and you're managing your work there with, let's say, GitHub issues or projects, maybe a small team, or you're working in the open source, that GitHub issues works great for you as your issue tracker and your project board. But as your organization grows, as you have several teams, as you have levels of management involved, it gets really important to provide that alignment and autonomy for the teams and help manage dependencies.
And to be able to scale as well, right? So
Yeah. I think another thing we found is that those issue lists, as they get longer and more complicated, there's lots of tags flying around and labels and things to help keep things organized, or sort of automation or bots to, again, help along the way.
Great. So, folks that are perhaps getting started on Azure Boards, can you just give us a quick overview, maybe in a nutshell, of what Azure Boards is about and how that's going to play into the GitHub integration?
Right, yeah. So overall, Azure Boards is all about helping you plan and track your work. It's got Kanban boards to help visualize and get the flow of work going. Backlogs for prioritization, queries, searching across your work. And pretty robust Scrum and Sprint tools to help do tasking and work iteratively.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how does the integration work with GitHub repos then?
Yeah. So you take Azure Boards and then you add GitHub in.
Yeah.
And this is about taking your work management and really integrating it into your development workflow.
Okay.
So as a developer, let's say I'm in GitHub. I'm doing my commits, my pull requests. But bringing in Azure Boards, I can now link my activity together with my work. So when I'm in a meeting with my team, we bring up the Kanban board. We can easily click into a work item and see, oh, we've got PRs. This work is in PR. We can start to answer those kind of questions.
So it's great for planners, great for devs. It's an all-in-all, fantastic integration piece that we have there. So I would love to see some kind of demo. And how do I get started? Because this sounds all fantastic.
Sure. Yeah. So let's start there, and we'll jump into GitHub here. And I've got a GitHub repo for my team. It's got a couple issues, a couple of PRs already. But let's say I want to check out Azure Boards and get started there. So I'll head out to the marketplace where we've got Azure Boards there, and it happens to be trending now, which is nice. Oh,
fantastic! Even better.
So it's easy to find. So here I can read more about Azure Boards and into more about what I talked about, things like connected from idea to release and so on. I'll go ahead and set up a new plan. It's free to get started, and it's even more generous if you're an open source and working in the open.
Fantastic.
So I'll install that for free, complete my order, and begin some of that installation.
Love seeing those two, 3 zeros there.
Exactly. So then I'll go in here and just make sure I get this installation complete, select my repo that I want to allow Azure Boards to be installed into. Click install here. And now we're being taken out to Azure DevOps Services here, where we can get the organization going. OK, so that's spinning up. In a second, we'll be able to select or create a new organization. So I'll go ahead and create a new one, give it a project, build, continue, and now a new project's getting spun up in Azure DevOps Services, and I'll be able to drop right into the Azure Boards service.
Okay.
where I can get started with my Kanban board here.
So really, you've just set up your project all within GitHub.
Yeah, so starting from within GitHub Marketplace is really great. So I was able to gracefully kind of come back in here. And now I've got a sense of success here. And we even provide a couple steps to really get you started and show you what this integration is all about. So I'll walk through a couple. This will create an item on the Kanban board in the to-do column. And then I'll even create a pull request in GitHub and show how that linking is happening. So great, I was able to go through this sort of first run, couple quick steps. I'll open the work item here and see a little bit more information about I can go read later and come back to. But the meat of it here is right in this development section where you look at the work overall, but you see in our development section, hey, there's a commit, there's a pull request for GitHub. This one's open. I'm going to go click on it and go take a look. So now I'm back over in GitHub. I see this is actually created automatically by Azure Boards. I see that there's a hyperlink. I could go back to that work item if I want to. So there's a bidirectional nature of this.
Yeah.
And this one's actually adding a badge to the README to let the rest of the team know. So that's what that's doing. So I'll go ahead and get that merged so I can let the rest of my team know. And as I go back to the board, actually that card went all the way to the done column. So we've got a little automation there to help developers.
That's fantastic. So what you just showed us here is that within less than 2 minutes, you set up that integration and you're pretty much ready to go now. Right. And that took less than 2 minutes. And that's pretty phenomenal. Yep. And then you just showed us, the end-to-end kind of what a standard workflow might look like for a developer, working in GitHub repos, and then going back to boards and that integration and that connection there as well. And I love the traceability as well. That's fantastic. I mean, that helps, not only the developers, but the actual PMs and, just to get that overall kind of view on what's going on and tracking the work there as well, which is fantastic. So you showed us so much good stuff here. Where can I go from here now?
Yeah, well, I think I just want to show, one other item here is where you can get started on the issue linking too. So we've got commits and pull requests.
Yep.
I'll create another story or another item in the to-do column here for get our repo ready. Public in this case. This is another item, and I'll remember that this is issue number 2 here because I'm going to come back to that in a second. So this is the case where, let's say our team has decided that as developers, we're going to continue working in GitHub. We really like that experience of pull requests and issues working together and how that works. But overall, we've recognized that as a team, we want to stay aligned with our other teams in our org and manage those dependencies. So here I've got a couple issues where I've broken down that item on Azure Boards into 2 issues. And I can use our mention syntax here to make this light up. So I'll do AB2 there. That's a mention. I'll go over to the other item and mention that as well. And
so that's all you need to do is just write AB2, pound AB2, right?
Yep. So yeah, it's very similar to the sort of native mention syntax in GitHub. So I've got those 2 linked now. And notice automatically in just a couple seconds, Azure Boards kicked in and automatically turned that into a hyperlink.
Wow.
So if I click back on that, I'll be able to see in that work item. We were talking about commits and pull requests before. Now I've got a couple GitHub issue links in this. So in my next conversation with the team, we could talk about how this work's broken down now.
Yep.
And I can finally come back into GitHub and complete those other kind of pull requests and show how I can do that kind of development just within GitHub, but yet still provide some visibility back to the rest of my team.
Yeah, exactly. It's so simple and so smooth, that whole kind of flow, right, that you just showed us. So, so what's next? Where can I go?
Sure. So next things that we're interested in is really deepening that integration, especially with GitHub issues, because that opens up a lot of possibilities for teams. So things like, hey, I want to collect customer feedback, because that's where my community is. They're in GitHub issues for my repo.
Right.
But maybe I still want to do planning with the rest of my organization in something like Azure Boards. So we could introduce some more automation there, maybe some import, syncing, two-way syncing. So there's a lot of interesting things that we could help with that. Other kind of smaller ones, but still deepening that integration, annotating the Kanban cards with little, little logos and things to help light it up. deepening our integration with pipelines as well. So enriching our kind of deployments API for builds, releases to make the three services really work well together with pipelines, boards, and GitHub.
Okay.
We really see that as a valuable combination for
makes
teams.
sense. Great. So where do I go to get started on boards, and where can I find out more information around the integration?
Sure. So like I showed here, you can go head out to the GitHub Marketplace and search for Azure Boards and find it there.
Great.
Install for free. You can also just read about Azure Boards in general at azure.com/boards, where you'll find things like case studies and links to our documentation where you can read all about how you can go beyond and show things, look at things like I didn't show, things like sprints and the backlogs and dashboards reporting.
Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. And folks at home, don't forget to check out the announcement blog as well. And you can find that blog post on the DevOps blog at aka.ms/DevOps blog. So thanks again for giving us this deep dive into the integration between GitHub repos and Azure Boards. Thanks for your time, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.